إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن نبينا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome back, brothers and sisters, to our sixth class where we're going through Hadith number 6 in the classes of the 40 Hadiths of Imam Nawawy, al-Nawawy. Hadith 6 goes as following. عن نعمان بن بشير رضي الله تعالى عنهما قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول. On the authority of An-Nu'man bin Bashir, this companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, may Allah be pleased with both of them. Whenever you see this phrase, both of them means both the son and the father. So An-Nu'man here is the son and Bashir is his father. And both of them were companions. From the etiquettes of the Muslims is that when the prophets are mentioned, we say alayhi salam or sallallahu alayhi wasallam. When it comes to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is a must, and it is good to say it for the other prophets as well. When we speak about angels, some scholars add alayhi salam to that as well. And when it comes to the companions, we say radiallahu anhum, may Allah be pleased with them. This is something that is reserved for the companions. For the rest of the people, anyone other than the companions and the prophets, we say rahimahullah or rahimahullah, may Allah have mercy upon them. This is just in form of etiquette. Sometimes you might find some scholars referring to other than the companions. For example, they might say Imam Shafi'i radiyallahu anhu. It does not mean that Imam Shafi'i is a companion of the Prophet ﷺ. And it is not haram to say radiyallahu anhu for another person. It is completely fine. But it is just a custom, the etiquette, so that if you mention a name and you say radiyallahu anhu, for most Muslims, they will think that this person is a companion. This person is a companion. Similarly, when it comes to certain divisions within the religion, people who ascribe themselves to Islam, such as the Ithna Ashariya from the Shia, for example, they will refer to Ali radiallahu anhu specifically with a different phrase. So they will say, for example, Karamallah wajha, may Allah make his face noble. And this is both a dua and also attesting to the level that Ali radiallahu anhu reached. But for the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, for us, we do not say it is haram to say Karamallah wajha, it is a dua. However, to single out one of the companions or one specific person with a specific dua, then at the very least it begs the question. A person might ask, why do you do that? Continuing with the dua, this companion An-Nu'man bin Bashir, may Allah be pleased with both of them, he said, سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, I heard the Messenger of Allah, may Allah be pleased with him, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, يقول, saying, إن الحلال بين وإن الحرام بين. إن الحلال بين وإن الحرام بين. Meaning that verily indeed the halal is clear. And verily, indeed, the haram is clear. So the Prophet ﷺ is telling us that in the religion, what is halal, it is known. And what is haram, it is known. And at the same time, in some narrations it says أمور مشتبهات. In this narration it says وبينهما مشتبهات. And between the halal and the haram are things that might confuse, resemble, basically a gray area between the halal and the haram. And the Prophet ﷺ, he says, لا يعلمهن كثير من الناس. Not many people from amongst mankind know about these matters. Okay. So this statement that the Prophet ﷺ is making, it might sound like a contradiction, because first the Prophet ﷺ is telling us in al-halal bayn wa in al-haram bayn. And at the same time, he's saying, وَبَيْنَهُمَا أُمُورٌ مُشْتَبِهَاتٌ, and between there is a gray area. So some people might think, well, either it is clear or it is not clear. But the Prophet ﷺ explains it in that sentence that comes after, لَا يَعْلَمُهُنَّ كَثِيرٌ مِنَ النَّاسِ, meaning that even the gray areas are things that some people, some scholars know. So it might be that many of us consider certain things to be a gray area because we don't know, our knowledge hasn't reached that level. But it does not mean that that is necessarily the case. So in simple words, if you have any doubts about something being permissible or not permissible, what is your responsibility is for you to seek out the answer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Meaning, ask those that have the knowledge, that know the book, that know the remembrance, in kuntum la ta'lamun, if you do not know. So the halal and the haram are clear. And at the same time, there's a gray area for many people. Many people do not know about these affairs. It is like the statement of the Prophet ﷺ in another hadith. He said, لِكُلِّ دَاءٍ دَوَاءٍ. The Prophet ﷺ said, لِكُلِّ دَاءٍ دَوَاءٍ. For every sickness or for every disease, there is a cure. لِكُلِّ دَاءٍ دَوَاءٍ. And then in the same hadith later on, he says, عَلِمَهُ مَنْ عَلِمَهُ وَجَهِلَهُ مَنْ جَهِلَهُ. That the ones that know the cure for it, they will know it. But the ones that do not know the cure for it, they will not know the cure for it. And just because some people do not know the cure does not mean that there's no cure. Right? So this is in that same way where, yes, there are gray areas in the religion, but those gray areas are there not because there's any mistake in the Sharia itself, but rather because of our understanding, for most people's understanding. And then the Prophet ﷺ continues the hadith and he says, فَمَنِ اتَّقَى الشُّبُهَاتِ اسْتَبْرَأَ لِدِينِهِ وَعِرْضِهِ. Look at this beautiful statement. The Prophet ﷺ is saying, and whoever stays far away, protects themselves from the shubuhat, these doubtful matters, اسْتَبْرَأَ لِدِينِهِ وَعِرْضِهِ. He has made himself clean, pure, saved himself, not only himself, but لِدِينِهِ وَعِرْضِهِ, he has protected his religion and his ilm, which is his honor. So the Prophet ﷺ is telling us that even in these shubuhat, these doubtful matters, is it halal, is it haram, the best way to go about it is to stay on the safe side, to opt for the safer option. Either you stay far away from it, and the word that the Prophet ﷺ is using here is ittaqa, meaning to the same root word as taqwa itself, that this person is actively trying to protect themselves from these doubtful matters. So either you stay far away from it, or you ask the question. You go to the Ahlul Ilm, the people of knowledge, and you ask the question, is this halal or is this haram? So if you are ever unsure, stay far away from it. And then the Prophet ﷺ continues and he says, وَمَنْ وَقَعَ فِي الشُّبُهَاتِ, and whoever falls into these doubtful matters. Notice here, the Prophet ﷺ is not talking about the haram, because the haram is vague, it is clear. If you fall into the haram, there's going to be consequences. But the Prophet ﷺ here, he is making clear to us that even the shubuhat, if you are not careful of the shubuhat, this is what will happen. The Prophet ﷺ is saying, وَمَنْ وَقَعَ فِي الشُّبُهَاتِ, and whoever falls into the shubuhat, وَقَعَ فِي الْحَرَامِ. Let me repeat that statement. وَمَنْ وَقَعَ فِي الشُّبُهَاتِ وَقَعَ فِي الْحَرَامِ. Whoever falls into these doubtful matters has fallen into haram. And a person might argue and say, well, I didn't do haram, this is a gray area. And the response is that this is the statement of the Prophet ﷺ. Because if a person is always close to the edge, he's going to fall in. It is just a matter of time. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ continues to explain. And he says, كَالرَّاعِي يَرْعَى حَوْلَ الْحِمَى. Notice the way that the Prophet ﷺ, when he's speaking to his companions, he is the best of teachers. He is the best of teachers without a doubt. He will use so many different examples. He will elaborate. If a person asks him the same thing again, he will not be angry. He will show some patience. He will even illustrate in front of the people. So here the Prophet ﷺ is talking, and then he uses an example for people to understand. And this is not the first time. Remember the first hadith when the Prophet ﷺ is speaking, and then he uses the example of the one who makes hijrah for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the opposite, that was an example, and this is an example. The Prophet ﷺ says, كَالرَّاعِي يَرْعَى حَوْلَ الْحِمَى. In the same way that the ra'i, the shepherd, the one that is watching over his sheep or animals, يَرْعَى حَوْلَ الْحِمَى, he's letting his animals graze just at the hima, and the hima is the boundaries, the people of wealth, the kings and so on. They would set up a barrier to show what belongs to them and what is beyond that. So if you bring your animal and you graze it in a place where you should not be grazing it, meaning you give it food from a place that does not belong to you, you will get into trouble. Now imagine if you let your animal eat from a place that is reserved for the king himself. You will face even more consequence, more problems. And the Prophet ﷺ says, يُوشِكُ أَن يَرْتَعَ فِيهِ. If you keep on that edge and you're close to the hima, this boundary, you might fall into it. It is as if the person will fall into it. أَلَا وَإِنَّ لِكُلِّ مَلِكٍ حِمَى. Verily indeed, every king has their dominion. They have this hima, this area that belongs to them. أَلَا وَإِنَّ حِمَى اللَّهِ مَحَارِمُهُ. Verily, the hima, the secluded area of Allah is the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made haram. Meaning, in simple words, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has secluded this area, told us not to go there. So whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made haram, it is a place or a thing that we are not allowed to even get close to. Because if you get close to it, then you might fall into it. Okay? I'll give you an example. The Prophet ﷺ told us that a believer, a Muslim, should not sit at a table where khamr, alcohol, is being consumed. This is an instruction. If you think about it, the sitting itself, is that problematic? Not necessarily. A person might sit there and they might have the right intention and they think to themselves, I will never fall for this temptation. However, because the madinna, the possibility, because there is a slight possibility, even though it might be very, very small, the religion closes that door. It closes that possibility. It urges you to remove yourself from that situation. So when you see that Islam will never bring you close to these kind of things, Islam will actually push you far away so that you do not come close to that haram whatsoever. And this is, the scholars in Islam, they used to say, sins, dhunub, it is the letter, it is baridul kufr, it is the letter for kufr. What does that mean? That sins are the letter for disbelief. It means that if a person keeps sinning and they keep doing it, small sins will lead to bigger sins. And eventually a person will reach a place where their Iman in their heart is so minute, so small, that they don't even care about the Iman itself. Right? So this becomes a big problem. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ's advice for us is to stay as far away as possible from the haram. And the Prophet ﷺ continues and he says, أَلَا وَإِنَّ فِي الْجَسَدِ مُضْغَةً. Verily indeed inside the body there is a piece of flesh, مُضْغَةً. إِذَا صَلَحَتْ صَلَحَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ. If it becomes good, then the whole body becomes good. وَإِذَا فَسَدَتْ فَسَدَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ. And if it becomes bad, if it becomes bad, then the rest of the body becomes bad. أَلَا وَهِيَ الْقَلْبُ. Verily indeed it is the heart. So here the Prophet ﷺ is emphasizing on the heart, and it is something that in today's society, with all the technology and all the advancements that you see, people's hearts have become neglected. And you've seen it with your own eyes. Because the reality is, our physical bodies need nourishment. Needs food, drink, and so on. What happens if you stop drinking? What happens if you stop eating? You will die. It's just a matter of time, right? You will wither away. Now, what will happen to your heart, to your soul, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not mentioned, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not remembered? The soul, the heart will also wither away in the same way that the body needs its nourishment. The soul, the heart needs its nourishment. This is why you will see that people in general, they will try to fill the emptiness that they feel in their heart with everything that they can. Some people will try to work as much as they can just to fill that void. Many people, they fill it with drugs, they fill it with things that they shouldn't be. But all of these people, they'll never find that peace or that tranquility that the religion brings. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, "Ala bidhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub." Verily, in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do the hearts find peace. So the heart is such an important part from an Islamic perspective. It does not just serve the function of pumping blood around the body, but it is actually considered to be a place of understanding. The heart, it is described in the Quran as a place of understanding. Not only that, but the heart has an impact. It is considered to be the place for intention. So if you intend good, that place is, the intention is in the heart, and you will see the consequence from it on the actions, on the limbs. And if a person's heart is corrupt, you will see that this in their actions, that they have corrupt actions, they lie, they steal, and so on. It is because their heart is corrupt. So this hadith, it actually shows us that this concept that people throw around these days, where they say, they might do something bad, and a person confronts them, and then they'll say, "You don't know what I have in my heart. You don't know what I have in my heart. I have good intentions." Which might be true, we do not know. But based on this hadith, we can say that usually what happens is that the actions and the heart go in the same direction. It is very rare that you see the actions and the heart going in separate directions. And when they go in separate directions, then that is usually not a good thing. Because if you think about it, in what cases do the actions and the heart go in different directions? It is regarding the munafiqun. يَقُولُونَ بِأَفْوَاهِهِمْ مَا لَيْسَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ. That they will say things with their tongues, with their mouths, لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ مُحَمَّدٌ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ مَا لَيْسَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ. But it is not in their heart. Things that are not in their heart, they will speak. And the other extreme, the other opposite would be the people, the Muslims like Bilal and Al-Yasir and so on, the Muslims who are persecuted. And for them to be able to say kalimatul kufr, even though they have Iman in their hearts. So for the rest of the people, they usually go hand in hand. Meaning that if you are doing something bad, that bad is actually a reflection of your heart. So you cannot go around doing bad and say, well, my heart is pure, my heart is good, because there's a direct link. And it does not mean that all hope is lost, and people, they think, well, if my heart is bad, then I'm a bad person. No, everyone has mistakes, everyone has shortcomings. And you realize that you need to work on your intentions, you need to work on your heart. If your heart is good, then you will see the consequences, the positive effect that it has on your actions. And once your actions are good, then the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are not far away. So this hadith is a very powerful reminder for all of us to start with our heart, start with our intentions. And if the intentions and the actions go hand in hand and they are to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you will see that the rest of a person's actions and their life in general will become clear, inshallah, straight and good. So inshallah, we will stop here. If anyone has any questions, now is the time to ask.